So I've never been one that gets hung up on that black and white cost of things. And in procurement, that's what we're supposed to focus on, right? But I have always, since day one, defended the gray. And today I want to kind of talk to you guys about what is that gray and why it is so very important, not just in procurement, but in strategic leadership, in your everyday life. So let's get into it. So, hey guys, if you're new here, I'm Tisa, and I've been in the procurement field for close to 20 years now, working in corporate world. I'm also a small business owner and trying out this YouTube thing. So today I want to talk about something that people in the procurement world, it should be second nature to them. It's something we call total cost of ownership. So what is total cost of ownership, you ask? It's the whole thing, not just the black and white costs, right? So what do I mean when I say black and white costs? Well, what are you buying it for, right? Purchase price, hard cost. What's it cost to ship it? What's it cost to put it in your warehouse? What's that maintenance agreement, right? Those are all things that we can get behind us. That's what it costs. There's this whole other area that people love to forget about. They like to discount it, and it's what I call the gray area. So how do you quantify the gray area? What is the gray area? So best way of describing it from my perspective is the Titanic didn't hit the iceberg that they saw. They hit the iceberg that was under the water. So what's under the water? Does your supplier call you back? If you send an email, is it going to be 3 days before they get back to you? If there's a quality problem, do they call you proactively and tell you, hey, there's an issue? Or do they wait for you to find out? Does your supplier call you up and say, hey, we have this idea on ways that we could do things better for you? That's invaluable. How do you add a cost onto that, right? So it's all those other things that when you're in the day-to-day account management and you're working with your supplier, you understand how important those costs are. But when you're talking to the larger corporation, they want to know what's the quote. How much are we paying for it? And there are times when that number on a piece of paper isn't what we want to do. So let me tell you guys a story about when I was a baby buyer. In my very first buyer role, I had a VP that taught me so much and pretty much gave me my entire philosophy on the way I approach things today. So he was very black and white. What does the quote say? Come in here, show me the quote. That's the supplier we're going with. And I was new and I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew I had these two suppliers and their costing was really close. But the guy that consistently was just a little bit better in pricing, honestly, I didn't like them. And it wasn't anything, right? It was all those little things. I would call and I would always get sent to voicemail. It'd be a day or two before I'd get a call back. I'd send an email and I knew that their response time was going to be 48 hours. I knew if I had a problem, it was just going to be that much harder to get a hold of them. So while their pricing was better, they made my life more difficult. So at the end of the day, I didn't want to work with them. I had to go into my VP's office and here I am, brand new. I think I've been with the company 4 months. I went in and I had to justify my sourcing decision. We had this, I call it a spirited debate, if you will. He said it's black and white. And I said, it's not black and white. There's all these other things that you need to take into consideration. Finally, I had my epiphany when I was watching this debate and I was able to catch my VP. He had this very serious look. You have to tell me the cost. That's what we're going with, lowest cost. And then as I was debating the gray area and fighting for this other supplier. I watched his little smirk come on his face. And that's when I went, this is what this job's about. Procurement's not about getting a quote. Anybody can go out. I can call anybody right now. Hey, can you tell me how much I'm going to pay for this? Cool. That's not what I do. That's not what anybody who does procurement does. Do you know what I do? I understand when I have 4 suppliers, what are they not telling me? Who's going to be the one that answers the phone? Who's going to be the one that brings me innovation? Who's going to be the one that makes my life easier? Right? Those are the things we have to justify. And that's really what comes down to strategic procurement. That's what comes down to total cost of ownership. And that's why at the end of the day, a quote is such a small part of what goes into how much you're going to pay at the end of the day. So as you're looking at this, not just from all my procurement people, right? But business owners, how much is that relationship going to cost you? How much is that new employee going to cost you? They may be great on paper, but if they come with all these other baggage, well, what's that mean, right? If you're looking at a new vendor, if they're going to make your life easier or harder, how much time are you going to spend? We forget to include all of those things that go into what it is to be strategic, what it is to understand the total cost, what it is to define value. So for all those procurement people out there who completely understand what this is about, thank you for listening to me. I'm sure I will see in comments plenty of examples of where the hidden gray costs have either bitten you in the butt or saved the day, right? How many times did you go with somebody because your gut told you to? There was something in that just ownership that later saved the day because you uncovered it. That taps into your gut instinct, and that is a topic for another day. So I want to know, how do you guys handle the gray areas in your line of work? Is what I'm talking about completely off base, or do you get it? It's not what you pay, but it's all the other things beyond just that quote. So let me know if you're a fellow person that lives in the gray and has to fight for the gray. Let me know what you think. Let me know your challenges. Thanks for listening. And until next time, bye guys.